So I know we wanted to talk about our idea for our podcast kind of thing, and then to also talk about our first season, and then we just recorded our second season, and what the idea is for the next season, and some of the things that changed from season 1 to season 2, and what everybody can expect to see different. So, well, do you have anything to start off with?
We wanted to do a podcast, but since we live so far apart and we both have busy schedules, this is a creative way to do this. We could just look at each other and talk.
Exactly. Yeah, like a more casual way to talk, right? Just not have to go see each other. Also, not make it's difficult even to want to call it a podcast because we don't really feel like it's a traditional podcast. We just wanted to record us, shooting the crap, shooting the bull, just like in the mud room at the duck club, just casual
conversation.
Yeah,
look, I'm up here in my kids' playroom.
There you go.
Doing the Fowl Minds Podcast. See all their junk.
Oh,
that's
nice.
What happens when you have kids. You got to dedicate a whole room to all their crap.
Yeah. It's the shared podcast room as well.
Yeah, this is their dollhouse / the mud room.
Right on.
So I think the difference between season 1 and 2 is going to be that, we actually knew what we were doing. Season 2 may not look like it, but all the time, but, we had a better idea of how to film a waterfowl show. I think deer hunting and, filming 4-legged animals are a lot easier to film than birds. And, I had some experience doing that, and it was just kind of go sit in the blind, wait for the animal to come out with the camera on the tripod and, shoot it. And that's a wrap. But duck hunting's got a lot more variables, and we experienced that in season 1, that it wasn't going to be as easy as we thought it was going to be. This year, we had some things that we needed to fine tune that we knew going into it, and we did that. Now we have even more things that we know we need to fine tune going into season 3, that, this coming year.
Yeah. So in season 1, I think I wouldn't say I definitely thought it was going to be easy, but I didn't think it was going to turn out as rough as it did, which it kind of made for some pretty entertaining stuff. But at the same time, I forget that guy's name that commented on our Facebook about, I want to watch your duck hunting show, but all it is a go fix it show. And so there was definitely a lot more of that than we foresaw, for sure. But I think one of the things we committed to when we started this, or the concept behind it, was that we were just going to be truthful about everything that goes on behind the scenes, and not necessarily make it something where it only shows the good hunts, or it only shows it doesn't show any of the bad things that happen, or the mistakes, or the breakdowns and stuff like that. And that was exactly what we did.
Well, the breakdowns and the working on stuff, that's for the last 14, 15 years, 12, 13, I don't know, however long we've been hunting together. That just has happened every time. It wasn't anything we had to try to do,
Yeah. But it definitely happened a lot more of this on when we were recording season 1, right?
Yeah. Anytime you're dealing with an airboat, you're trying to build yourself, out of the junkyard motor, theory you did. And I didn't think that was ever going to work. I was hoping I'd win the lottery and get rich. I could just go buy you a brand new airboat, because I was getting tired of seeing you spend all your free time working on that thing. But you made it work.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have taken a free airboat, but it's not that I didn't have the funds per se to build a motor. Hell, Mills Caja has a 383, like a fully forged 383 built for me, and I had no interest to go and pick it up. not because I don't think it's going to be a great motor, just because, well, I can save that for another podcast why I wanted to get into that. But yeah, I'm glad that I stuck to it and figured it out. I think for me, the reason why, reflecting on it myself, the reason why a lot of the breakdowns happened was because I was such in a rush, even
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to the
exactly.
going back to
Well,
the first one where it flipped out of I was like, oh, I'm just going a mile down the road. I'm not going to strap down the engine. And then it cascaded from there whenever that flipped out of the boat in front of Hobby Airport.
yeah, I bet if we would have had a Fowl Minds sticker on the truck there or the boat, that would have got us some attention for sure. Driving downtown Houston, who
Mhm.
rolls an airboat in the middle of the street except Clayton?
Yeah. Or just
You
had a
know,
cameraman.
I think that that was another thing too. Season one, we were just so rushed to put it together, and had so many different ideas of where we wanted to hunt and how we wanted to hunt and stuff. Now we kind of got that, dialed in where, we got a little system going on.
Right.
Um,
So tell us about, or tell the audience about how, the Duck Club and how that came about after our first season, and how that went.
well, some of my buddies, I mean, your buddies too, but they're from Mississippi in the Delta, and they're farmers, and they're in just a really good spot, probably the best spot in the Mississippi Delta. And they've got some big farms that are, located in just prime locations. We got talking one day, and, they duck hunted a little bit, but not much. And I don't know. I think it was just kind of a joke. We said we ought to make a duck club so we can be better than all the duck clubs around there. And, we were just joking around. And then it was like, we're going to flood a little over here and plant a little bit over here. And then it was like, you know what? Well, if we're going to do this, let's just do it right. And everything just kind of fell into place. And between all of our friends that like to duck hunt, we made a duck club, and it makes it easy whenever, the people involved own the land and they're farmers. It just makes it a lot easier to make something like that happen. And it was just kind of the perfect storm. So that's where I spent most of my time in January, was up there, hunted Texas early, and got the photo migrators, and we mopped them up. It was a really good season in Texas early on, and then I just kind of went up to Mississippi and pretty much stayed there the whole month of January, and hunted up there.
Mhm. Yeah. So what are some of the big clubs? It's pretty spread out, right? The Refuge Duck Club itself, right? And there's a couple of pretty well-known duck clubs that it backs up against, right?
Yeah, so like from one farm to from I guess you could say from the camp where we hunt there too, all the way to the furthest farm away is like an hour and 15 minutes, which, in Texas, you can go through several towns in an hour and 15 minutes. In Mississippi, that's nothing, which I learned. But there's Fighting Bio, which is a really good, well-known, prestigious club. We have a place right next to them, and then there's Duckbriar, and they're another really well-known, well-managed, good club, and we've got another place next to them, and just a bunch of little small places kind of in between, and a bunch of different kind of habitat, moist soil, flooded timber, sloughs. We had some flooded corn this year, and millet and beans, just pretty much everything. We tried it all, and we learned a lot. And this rice, we had a lot of rice this year. We kind of know what the ducks want and where they prefer to be, so we're going to focus more on those areas, and spend the money towards giving them what they want versus what we thought they wanted.
You can't forget about the catfish ponds.
Oh yeah, Spoony capital of the world. Lots of catfish ponds.
Yeah, there's a lot of ducks on there in general. It's definitely not, there's for sure a lot of spoonies, but there's definitely other ducks too. But most of them are pretty deep, right? So it's divers and
Yeah.
spoonies that are filter feeding on the surface, eating whatever.
Yeah, I think that those catfish ponds, not just on the farms we hunt, but in that area of the Delta, um, it's just my theory. It could be wrong, but I think that those catfish ponds play a major role in holding ducks or helping hold ducks, because there's been a lot of times where the fields would be full of birds and there wouldn't be that many ducks on the catfish ponds during the day when we'd be riding around scouting, and then it would flip. The catfish ponds would be full of birds and there'd be nothing in the fields, or there'd be a bunch of birds in the fields and nothing on the catfish pond. So I think those birds just kind of hop back and forth. I even saw some mallards in one pond this year when it got real cold, so they do use them. I mean, my theory is, water doesn't hurt, and the more water you have, as far as a habitat standpoint, the better, in my opinion. And that's, man, the Mississippi Delta has a lot of catfish ponds, a lot of them, thousands. So
yeah, definitely plenty of ducks taken off those. Yeah, we had the first annual gentleman spoony hunt.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like that. I think we might have made a few people mad by doing that, but it was pretty funny.
Right. Yeah, we I went out there for a couple of weeks as well, or I was out there last year and then stayed out for a week this past season. And sometimes there's just unreal amounts of spoonies on these ponds. And Haiden and I were going back and forth. We have a buddy, Michael Ashcraft, that he abhors spoony shooting. So
anything but a mallard or widgeon or gadwall or pintail.
Right. Well, he I think when his birds start to decline, he becomes less and less picky, but we haven't seen him get to. I have seen him shoot 2 spoony hens when I've hunted with him, but it wasn't intentional.
So are you saying Michael Ashcraft shot a hen?
He shot 2 spoony hens. I've seen him. And but he didn't know. It was like right at shooting time, right? So that's unfortunately we don't have video of that, but so we were joking back and forth about Michael, and he gives everybody a hard time about not shooting spoonies or whatever, right? Just trying to do better at duck hunting is what it all boils down to. And so we were like, how funny would it be to just do a hunt where all we do is go after spoonies? And there's a lot of comedic value to that. And so we were like, well, Haiden wanted to do it. I was like, I'm in. And then to add to it, we just decided that we were gonna I came up with the idea maybe, I don't know, a week or a couple days before, that we would, since we're calling it a gentleman's spoony hunt, we need suits. So we rolled into the Salvation Army and with the bus, pulled up with a bus with 10 guys or so. I can't remember how many people, but
whole crew of people.
Whole crew opened up the door to the bus. Everybody got out and bought suits and tie.
We spent $70 on 10 suits.
Yeah, it was a good deal. You ever need a suit,
And I still have mine. It's in the closet at the Duck Club, so it may make an appearance. But I think we should continue doing the gentleman's hunt. But this year, I think there's going to be a new theme.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It'll be good.
Depending on how much harassment I get from Michael Ashcraft on Facebook when I post a tailgate full of bull spoonies, we might call it the Michael Ashcraft Memorial Spoony Hunt, or the Michael Ashcraft Spoony Hunt, or something.
Memorial sounds like he's passed away or something.
Yeah. We got to come up with better, but but it really hits hard when you say Memorial.
Put his name in there.
Yeah.
So the difference, I would say, so Haiden just told you about the Duck Club, the Refuge Duck Club. That's the primary. Well, that kind of leads into the primary difference of what season 1 and season 2 was. So, it was mostly us hunting together, like throughout the whole season. It's kind of difficult to say what the final product's going to look like to the user. But he decided he was going to focus on hunting the duck club and doing the duck club stuff in Mississippi. And I just decided I was going to continue to do the bus and the airboat. And I'm glad I did. I had, after, the first season you just saw, that following summer, I had plenty of time to work on the bus and the boat and got it going, and it ran great all season. We only recorded one hunt with the boat and the bus. As a matter of fact, there's a picture of it back there. The world is your oyster. But that was that was actually from the season before this picture was taken. Now it's wrapped on the side, but you'll see that. So took cameraman Griffin with me, just me, Eider, and Griffin. And man, you want to talk about bringing a kid from Maine, 18 years old, that, from what he tells me, they do some field hunting or they go walk in. I mean, like I did when I was 16, 17, they go and do walk-ins, and, Haiden just tells them, he doesn't know me from Adam. He's like, hey, just show up to this guy's house and you're about to go on an adventure, and I don't think he knew what all it entailed, but, show up with the bus in the boat, and, he's just like, we're going to stay in this thing, and he was a sport, right? He's a hunter himself, and he's been in the outdoors, but he probably didn't have the adventure, the bus and the boat here on the in his mind when he was thinking he was going to film a duck hunt. So just to say a little bit about that, we what you'll see in one of the episodes, probably be one of the first episodes for season 2, but we went all the way to South Texas to the border. There's a few lakes on the border. We scouted, and I'm thinking of other thoughts now that I say that. Let me just talk about the bus a little bit for those of you that don't know. So the bus is a limousine, F4 or E450 with a 7.3 power stroke in it, and it's a limousine bus, and I converted it to 4-wheel drive for specifically duck adventures. And the airboat, I've owned airboats for quite a while. Me and all my buddies have. That's how we primarily have hunted since I got out of college. Didn't have one in college, but that's the junkyard motor that Haiden was talking about. So I wanted a cheap way to repower an airboat. I don't think there's anything more devastating to when you have a $20,000 motor built, or $10,000 to $20,000, let's say, and it blows up on a hunt, and then you're like, okay, now I got to come up with another 10 or 20 grand. And sometimes you maybe have one ready already, but still, I mean, just it hurt. I would think it hurts just about anybody, especially near my level of finances, that to just throw $20,000 out the window is it hurts. So saw that a lot of people were doing LS swaps on different things, and they had reliability, so I learned a lot about it. And we just put one on the airboat and put turbos on it. It makes about 750 to 900 horsepower, depending on how much boost we're giving it. This past season, we didn't give it very much at all. We were closer to 700 horsepower, and it was plenty. Didn't want to take any chances and screw anything up since everything was going well. But so yeah, the limousine bus, we stay in the bus, right? We sleep in the bus, and the idea behind that is so we don't have to travel back and forth to the spots. And so on this trip that brought cameraman Griffin on, we went to South Texas, like I was saying, the 2 lakes, and we had a blast. I mean, I had a blast. It was I think he had fun too, but it was definitely something different. We went to the border, and so it kind of worked out like I imagined. I think so the first couple of days that we were there, we drove around a lake. We drove up the next day. We scouted a river. Those 2 mornings we tried to hunt. We were unsuccessful. I mean, we had a good idea that on the scout that there wasn't, we probably weren't going to do very good on the hunt. And so, that was, so we hunted anyways, just because we weren't going to be able to scout. So, 25 ducks in one spot, or 10 in one spot in one case. It was like better to, you got a visitor there?
Yeah, this is Hunter.
What's up, Hunter? What happened to your chin?
Harper.
Harper?
Sure. She pushed her.
Jeez.
She got her back, though. They fight like little boys. Here, go downstairs, baby. I'll come down in a minute. All right. She just wanted to say hi.
Okay. Well, so the what was I going to say? Oh, so like, the first 2 days didn't go that good. And I was like, man, seems like this is turning into last season, which that was the wrong thing to say, because it wasn't near like that. Because everything ran the whole time. So scouted, hunted. We knew when we scouted, it wasn't the most ideal scenario, but at least we were hunting somewhere. So the idea, once we would hunt that following morning, we would go to the next spot and scout. And then we went up to go see Tanner, my friend, Trans-Pecos Aviation, Tanner and Kylie. They have a helicopter business, and look them up on, social media, Instagram. They have an Instagram, I'm sure Google as well. They do coyote hunts, all kinds of stuff, but he was going to fly me around to scout, and we thought we had enough time. And just probably we're headed to the airport. We meet at the ranch. We head to the airport, and Tanner calls me and is like, man, we're not going to have enough time to make it there. And it was like just enough time really. But, if you get there at dark, who knows what you're going to see, they might've already, I don't know, they'd probably be in the middle of the lake roosting, who knows, the next reservoir. So, we decided, okay, we're not going to go. We'll scout tomorrow morning on the helicopter. And I've worked in that area before, and just kind of called an audible and was like, hey, I know of this river. It looks more like a ditch in the, you'll see in the show, but it's like, I've shot ducks over here before on like a walk-in deal. It's not wide enough to launch the boat. Let's go check it out. And it's like Griffin and I walked for like, I don't know, 2 miles maybe, and didn't see a duck. And then finally we saw like 25 widgeon, and it was just before dark. And we're like, okay, this is our, just like the 2 mornings before, this is the most ideal spot. So, let's do that. Instead of scouting first thing in the morning, let's scout at 8, 9 a.m., and hunt first. So that was what we did, and ended up going like surprisingly well. Like that river, it's got higher banks, but it winds and it's real narrow. It was like we had ducks just coming in the decoys, a couple at a time, not like huge groups, but just following along the river. And I think it was like the second shot I made, we were up on the bank, and it was just like, you just look down the river. Griffin and I looked down the river, and it's like, I don't know, 1,500 ducks in probably a quarter mile's distance. And so we were pretty surprised to see that. But that was why we ended up doing good, because there was far more ducks on there than the 25 widgeon we saw. But ended up scrapping out a limit there, shot some canvas, some interesting ducks. That area, Southwest Texas, it's got some interesting migrants, in the animal and human variety. But yeah, so then we got on the chopper, or got on the helicopter, and went and scouted a couple reservoirs north, found a lot of birds, and then just, drove the bus up there, got some groceries, went and camped out. I mean, we had a good time. No issues out of the boat. It all ran great. Shot some cool looking birds. But yeah, I was just hunting by myself, which, when it all shook out at the end, I started to beat myself up about maybe we didn't do as good the first couple of days. And then I was like, no, that's the whole point of the bus. It's like so many times on past trips, and we'll travel up to Idaho, or, to hunt the Snake River, or, to Oklahoma, to, just different places. Right. And you go and you're planning on hunting a public area or public river, and you rent a hotel, and then things change, or the ducks aren't there like you thought they would be. Right. And then you need to move, and then, you already paid for the hotel. They won't give you a refund. There's things like that it's like, the whole point of that is just the bus and the boat is just to give the flexibility of, if you have 8 days to hunt, you can go find a way to kill some birds, if you are persistent enough, and that was exactly what we showed. I mean, I don't know how many miles we traveled exactly, but it was a substantial amount. But we ended up getting on them, and that's the whole basis for the setup, right?
It works out good for that, for that kind of hunting.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Yep. So I think next year, there's definitely going to be some more of that, going to make some more modifications to the bus and make it a little bit more comfortable for everybody, and hopefully get some more people along on a couple of the trips. And the duck club, are you doing the duck club again?
Yeah, I'm gonna hunt. This coming season, I'm gonna hunt. We're gathering up a lot of private land in Texas. Leasing a lot of land in Texas. Not that duck club, but just me and some buddies. So we'll hunt there a bunch, and then I'll go up to Mississippi and do a couple stretches there in January and hunt up there too, and probably hunt Texas November, December. You know, kids are getting older, getting into more stuff. Harper's in cheerleading and softball and tumbling and all that good stuff. So I'm trying to stay closer to home and be more involved with the kids on the weekends and stuff. So I'm just trying to get more stuff closer, to where we can go run and hunt a day or two and film and then, be back. It's easy. But yeah, we'll definitely be in Mississippi again this year. It's a blast up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was telling people that I don't know if we might have to reserve a week for some people that I know, because I mean, just a crazy number of people that I'm acquaintances with, do business with, or know personally really well, since we've started the show and they've seen it. I guess they've gotten more excited about it. And I don't know, maybe part of them saw everything breaking down. They're like, oh, I can make stuff break down too. So anyways, they're like, they've been asking me to go and hunt, and I definitely want to take everybody I can. But I mean, it's kind of unreal. Sometimes it's unrealistic to make two people's schedules work, much less, 50 different people. Right. Just so I told my cousin, Chris, that, if he wanted to come and hunt, he might have to come down to the duck club and just try to get as many people as we can there one weekend
Yeah.
of people that want to come hunt with me, and I'll make sure that I'm there.
The duck club, that's what it's ideal for, because it's comfortable, it's easy hunting, it's drive to the blind, either in a boat or a Polaris Can-Am. It's hard to get some of those people lined up to go hunt, West Texas, or what I mean, to travel like that and go hunt or stay in a bus or whatever. So it's a good mix. You got that. Well, for this show, I feel like you got that mix to cater to the I call them the meat eater guys. The guys that want to see the raw, what you do, or I'll do it as much as I can, but unfortunately I just don't get the chance to do it as much as I'd like to now. But the go out, camp in the bus, scout hard, all that stuff. And then you got the guys that, we're not always going to kill limits, right? Every day. It's just not going to happen because we're hunting one area. It's not like we can just pick our duck club up and move 5 hours or 6 hours away. But it's more of the camaraderie, hunting with your buddies, the camp life. We've got a cook. His name is Raymond, and he's like family, and he's fun, and you come in from hunting in the morning, your food's ready, and at nighttime we got a fire and we just all cut up and hang out, and we may go out the next morning and shoot a bunch of ducks, or we may only shoot a handful, but you still got that camp aspect of things that makes it fun and really enjoyable. And you got guys that that they've killed lots of ducks in their life, and they've worked hard every day, and they just want to go somewhere and just kind of relax and hang out. And that's what the Refuge is good for. It's good for that aspect, and the show will show that. We got Fowl Minds has two different types of hunting. There's two different people on the show that hunt two different ways and have two different lives, that allow us to do certain things. And I feel like we can cater to two different types of viewers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's what, not everybody's going to be willing to do like a 10-mile boat run in an airboat, in freezing, below freezing, let's say. And, at the duck club, you just get in the buggy. Most of them have windshields. It's a, short buggy ride and from the heated truck and a short ride back. And, yeah, that actually reminds me of, Argentina. My buddy, Joaquin, I think I'm going to go this year in August. And it's the same. He says the same things. It's like most people that he sees at the lodge. Joaquin is the owner of the lodge north of Buenos Aires, duck hunting. And so most people he sees, they just want to post up in a lawn chair, everything already set up. And we're like asking him to go and scout and stuff with him. And he's like so confused because he usually has somebody else do that for him. And then, we're in there, there's like a scouting vehicle and everything. And he's taking us in his brand new Dodge truck and had a blind cow run into it one time, couldn't open the passenger door. He was pretty pissed off about that. But, hopefully you get to see some of that, too in August. Maybe we'll put that into season 2 if I go and do that.
Yeah. We talked about doing some other stuff because, duck season is in relative to all the other things you can hunt. It's just so short, right? It's from 60 days, and you and I have teal hunted a lot together, more times than we can count, but I don't think we've ever filmed a TV show hunting teal. And, like our buddies in Mississippi, they have some teal there, but usually during teal season, they still have rice in the field, or they're cutting rice. So those guys in the Delta, even Arkansas, they don't really get the teal hunt, but they really enjoy it. So I think that's something we talked about doing this year. Is we have phenomenal teal hunting, an hour from your house and 2 hours from my house, or we're going to capitalize on that. But we talked about doing more stuff, maybe like filming a turkey hunt, and I got online the other day and was just looking at some stuff, and I found some public land that I don't want to give too much of it away, but I haven't even told you about it yet. But I found some public land that you can only access by boat that has really good turkey hunting. And one of our buddies hunts it a lot and offered to take us. So I think that'd be pretty cool, to go run and do a quick turkey hunt or something like that. Just something. I've never turkey hunted. I take it back. I have killed a turkey, but hey, I'm not a turkey purist. I shot it under a feeder with my bow. I've never done the whole call and, got all excited about it and all that stuff. So I don't really know what it's about, but I think it'd be something kind of cool to go out there and do it. And who knows, man, we might go to Goodwill and buy suits and go shooting in vintage suits or something,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've done it. I've been a couple of times myself. I tried to call one in. It walked down a road, so I'm not really sure if I called it in. I was probably like 20 yards into the woods and it walked past me at least, or tried to, and I shot it. So I don't know if that really counts as calling it in or not, but
yeah, I was sitting in a blind it was like 100 degrees and I was determined to get one of these things with my bow. I went through a phase where I was just hardcore bow hunting purist, nothing but a bow. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, this is miserable. It was 2:00 during the day. My friends were back at the camp watching TV and the air conditioned, and I was on texting or doing something. I look up and there's a gobbler sitting underneath the feeder, and I shot him with my bow, and I was like, yep, one and done. I'm good.
yeah.
But I think it'd be cool to call one in and film it, and just be some different material to show.
Okay, so tell them about, it looks like we're almost out of time. I got a notification from Zoom here that was saying running out, so it could stop at any moment, by the way. But just tell them about, tell us about rather the South Texas Hunting Outfitters, and dove season. You usually hunt dove season, right? And what your schedule's like. But not only that, we were talking about doing that hunt that you were mentioning that Luther used to put on when
Yeah.
in Kingsville?
Yeah, so my hunting business is called South Texas Hunting Outfitters. We do dove, whitetail, turkey, and exotic hunts. So pretty much from September 1st through May 1st, we're really busy. There's a small lull there, usually in January, and which for some reason, we have most of our deer hunts done by January, which allows me to go duck hunting. But my first mentor in the hunting business, his name was Luther Young, and he was a quail guide, and he did a lot of stuff on the King Ranch, Kinney Ranch, Jones, the big ranches. He took a lot of really well-known, prestigious people hunting, and it was all wild birds. It was a really true. We joke around about a gentleman's hunt, but it was a true gentleman's hunt every day. That's what they did. And anyways, he put on a benefit, a charity benefit called the Caja Dove Shoot. And when I worked for him, I was involved with it a little bit. I helped him out there. And what it was it was usually on the King Ranch, and it was a hunt with teams. You had 4-man teams, and every team member got 1 box of shells, and it was a 410 only hunt. So it was a social event. You'd come in, have lunch, and then after lunch, go hunt and have an evening hunt. And every team had 4 members, 4 boxes of shells, and whichever team shot the most doves, they won. And then they took the money that they raised, and they donated it to Halo Flight, which is the life flight of the South Texas coastal bend area there around Corpus Christi. So Jack, our friend in the Delta, they have a deal at their restaurant, Crawdads and Marigold, called A Night for the Mayor, and Jack's father, it's in his honor, and they do a dinner, and all the people that used to work at the restaurant come in, used to work there a long time ago. They come back and they help out, and then they raise money, and then they donate it to the Children's Hospital in Jackson. And I was actually driving home from the Delta. So it's like an 8.5-hour drive for me. And I was driving home, and I was thinking, I said, you know what? Luther used to do that. Jack and them do it. It would be really cool if we could do something like that in Texas for our community and help out. And, we have a lot of resources. We're very blessed to have the amount of property that we have in South Texas to dove hunt. And I thought, you know what, in October, usually the dove hunting's pretty good.